Hey, what's going on, guys? If you are interested in turning your social media following into raving fans, stay tuned. I got some tips for you. Hey, what's going on, guys? Henry Kaminski here, the brand doctor from Unique Designz.net with another quick YouTube video for you. Today, we are going to dive into how to turn your social media audience into raving fans. How do you stand out from all the noise that's out there on social media today? Before we dive into that, I'm going to share with you a couple things. But first, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, hit subscribe right now. And I want this to be a fluid conversation. So if you have comments or questions, drop them in the underneath this video right now, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Also got some really awesome resources for you also in the description. Check that out. So now let's get into it. So how do we create a raving fan base out of our social media following? There's a couple things that we need to pay attention to. One is we need to treat social media as a community. Okay. I think a lot of people have in their heads like social media is how I'm going to make money. And that is a horrible mindset to have, because if you think that way and you think of these followers as dollar signs, I got news for you. You are going to fall flat, okay? The future of social media is all about relatability. People go to social media to feel you out, to connect with you, to see if they like you or not like you. And either way, it's okay. But it's all about relationships, all right? So that's what we need to pay attention to. If you're not out there engaging and bringing these people into your community and holding their hand and sort of walking them through the gates of your social media platforms, then why should they come? Okay, so you got to love social media and embrace it as a community. The other thing I want you to do is I really want you to dig deep and find your voice. Like, what position do you stand for? What don't you stand for? And be unapologetically yourself. I love that. I actually got that from a dude by the name of Brian Fanzo. And he talked about how his mom was saying, like, recently, because he's in his 20s now, you know, one thing about you as a kid was that you were so unapologetically yourself to anybody you interacted with. And I thought that was some great feedback from mom. And Brian shared that on stage and at one of the presentations at Social Media Marketing World. And I really connected with that because I think a lot of people are just putting their best selves out there on social media. It's a big competition game out there. And, you know, people are going into deep depressions and it's awful. It's awful. So just be yourself. Wouldn't you want somebody to connect with the true self of you? Or a fabricated version of you? There's your answer, right? So as we dive deeper, there's a couple of things I want you to do, some tactical things that I want you to do that is really going to help you really build that connection with your audience. One thing is, don't take your audience for granted, right? If they leave a comment back and acknowledge them. That's like somebody walking down the street and saying what's up to you and you totally ignoring them. I think the one thing we forget about social media is it is real life. It is still real life. And the way we treat people in real life is the way we treat people on social media. It is no different. And I think that's where people get messed up. They think social media is like fake land, and it's really not. So the way you would treat a human being in person is the way you treat a human being on social media. Let's keep this really simple, guys. Let's not complicate it because life is already complicated. So, it's my job and my responsibility to take all of that complication and really distill it down for you. So don't forget these, it's almost like common sense, but they're so important. All right. So definitely acknowledge them, personalize the experience. So I take it a step further. So now when I am followed by people on Instagram, I will first do a check on their account to make sure that they're legit. And then I will actually send a 15-second video. Hey, what's up, Brett? Nice to meet you. Looks like you have a pretty awesome account. Where are you from? Would love to get to know you. P.S. Thank you for the follow. I acknowledge you. Or something along those lines. Like, I'm sorry, I goofed up at the end. I typically say, thank you, and I just wanted to acknowledge your follow. That's it. And then I get videos back. I get videos back from the follower, and they're like, oh my God, that was so nice of you to cut that little video. I got this beautiful woman from the UK, and I was not expecting her to have this British accent. And as soon as she started to talk, I was like, oh my God, I love this girl's accent. And so we instantly made that connection and bond. Okay. So if you want engagement out of your social media audience, then you need to do the engagement as well. It's not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. And so we have to pay attention to that. Otherwise, you're going to get lackluster results. And listen, I failed at this miserably because I wanted all this attention, but I didn't want to give any attention. I didn't want to give any engagement. See, I was a taker back in the day. I was not a giver. And it wasn't until recently, since I had my son and since I've gotten coached up and, really started to understand that what you give is what you're going to get back in every area and aspect of your life. And it all starts with your attitude. Okay. So definitely do these little engagement things. Actually acknowledge people. Go a step further and do these little video DMs or PMs. It's going to go a long, long way. People want you. At the end of the day, they don't want your product or service. They want you. And I will fight that argument until my knuckles are bloody, because people are like, well, nobody cares about you. It's not about you. Yes, you're right. It is not about you when it comes to that. But when it comes to letting people in on who you really are, what you stand for, and why and how and what you do, that's very important. Nobody's going to do business with strangers. So you got to get that out there and then serve. Understand where your audience is coming from. Listen to them, hear them, see them, feel them, and then put out that content that is going to get them souped up, get them fired up to be like, you know what? There's 1,000 brand strategists and designers and digital marketers out there, but I'm going with Henry. Why? Because I know, like, and trust him. Big emphasis on the trust, by the way. So if you're not a practitioner of what you preach, then there's a big question mark that goes on in somebody's head. And I don't want your audience to get that question mark in their head. So do what you say and say what you do. Okay. And show who you are, right? Another way that I do it is when somebody reaches out to me and they're genuine and they just want to connect, I'll be like, hey, sounds like you have a lot to say. Sounds like you're really passionate about what you do. You want to come on my podcast? But Henry, I don't have a podcast. You have a YouTube channel, don't you? Or if you don't have a YouTube channel, do you have a Facebook, right? You can get a Zoom account where you could go live with somebody else. You could do an Instagram live with 2 people on it now. You bring them on and help them get their message out. I can't tell you how many great relationships were created because I went on somebody's podcast and had a great time, really connected and bonded with that person. And then I immediately asked them to come on my show. And then we kept in touch over the years. And now we're referring clients to each other. And it's a great relationship. So this is how you create some amazing engagement with your social media audience. It's not about the number of followers anymore. It's not. It's the trust that your audience has of you. Start building trust, and your business will grow exponentially. So I hope you got some value out of this, guys. Again, check out some of those digital resources I have in the description below. Drop some comments. I want to get your feedback. If you have any further questions around this topic of conversation, the comments is where to drop them, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit that subscribe, and I will be bringing you 3 new pieces of content a week to help you build a strong personal brand and really help you grow and build a reputable and profitable solopreneur business. So have an amazing day, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one real soon. Take care.